Hello dear friends, welcome to our channel ICSE Learn. I hope you are very much fine. So today we are going to start our chapter, the respiratory system. That is our chapter number 14. Okay, so we are starting this chapter. Before that we have done respiration in plants also. That's also a very much nice chapter, and associated with this chapter, okay, they are somewhat same. Okay, so let's start. But before that, you must see the syllabus that we have to read. Let's start that what is a respiration first of all. So respiration is a vital process. Vital means it is a very complex process, and it occurs in all living organisms, whether we are humans, animals or plants. Okay, this process happens in all living organisms. Okay, and we must keep it in mind that it is a non-stop. It is non-stop throughout our life. It goes on. Okay, and we have seen also respiration. In respiration there is a part breathing. Okay, and you know that we breathe means we are inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide. So this is a continuous process. That's why we can say that respiration goes on non-stop throughout life. Okay, so in this chapter we are going to see various aspects that are related to respiration. Whether see, whenever there is a process, then there must be some raw materials that were used, and after the reaction there must be the end products. Okay, and in case of respiration there is an end product, that is energy, and we are seeing that how much energy is liberated or given out. So at the end of the chapter we are going to see some of the experiments that are very much interesting and easy also. Our next portion is need for respiration. But before finding out that what is the importance of respiration, we must learn that what is the definition of respiration. So we know that respiration is a process, but we use the word chemical over here. So respiration is a chemical process in which energy is released, and how? By breaking down glucose. Okay, and why we are breaking down glucose, why we need energy? We need energy for carrying out life processes. Okay, so you know that we are breaking down glucose for energy, and glucose can be break down by utilizing oxygen or in the presence of oxygen mainly. Okay, and the overall reaction is given over here. You must learn this. Okay, I think you have done this in the respiration in plants chapter also. C6H12O6, this is the formula for glucose, and in the presence of oxygen. So glucose and oxygen are the raw materials, and the end products are CO2. If there is oxygen, then CO2 must be there, then water is also present, and energy is also liberated as the end product of this reaction. So they have given us the 5 important points to remember about this chemical reaction in respiration. Okay, so these 5 points you must keep in mind. These are very much easy. First of all, that this respiration takes place in the cells. Okay, in the living cells. That's why it's known as the cellular or tissue respiration. Okay, I think it's clear. Second is that when there is breakdown of glucose, means this then this glucose is break down into that carbon dioxide and water. Okay, and this breakdown of glucose into carbon dioxide and water is not a single step, but it includes many steps. We have done in respiration in plants, and there are 2 steps. First one is glycolysis, and second one is Krebs cycle. Okay, so we know that glycolysis occurs in cytoplasm, and Krebs cycle occurs in mitochondria, inside the mitochondria. Okay, the energy house of the cell. You must learn these small things which we have done in our earlier chapters, like cell and respiration in plants. Third one is that for each breakdown, means first of all what we are going to do, you must know that during glycolysis, what is happening, our glucose is first changed into pyruvic acid. So here the breakdown of glucose is into pyruvic acid, so it needs a particular or a different enzyme. But when this pyruvic acid in the Krebs cycle process, when this pyruvic acid is changed at the end into carbon dioxide, water and energy, then it needs a different enzyme. So each breakdown step is due to a particular enzyme. They needs different enzymes to work upon them. Now fourth is that the energy that is liberated by the breakdown of glucose is in the two forms. First is in the heat form. Okay, why in the heat form? Because we know that we are warm blooded. Okay, we are warm blooded animals. That's why we need heat energy to keep us warm. That's why in the heat energy form, first in the heat and second is in the chemical energy. So energy is released in two main form. First is our heat energy and second is chemical energy, and chemical energy in the form of ATP. Full form is adenosine triphosphate. Triphosphate means 3 molecules of phosphorus. But see, here it is ATP. Okay, so here the breakdown of glucose is there and it releases ATP. But after consuming or after breakdown of glucose, we are doing work. Then this energy is used, then it forms ADP. ADP means, we can say, adenosine diphosphate. Here 2 molecules of phosphorus. From the 3 molecules it become 2 molecules. Why? Because we utilized 1 molecule in our work. Okay, after it become ATP, then again there is a breakdown, and after breakdown it again become the ATP. Okay, the same thing is given over here. And the last and the fifth one is that the essential or the important steps of cellular respiration are same in plants and animals. Okay, we are seeing glycolysis. The glycolysis step is same in both plants and animals, and Krebs cycle is also same. Means the main things are same in both of them. So now we have seen that why we need respiration. We need respiration so that we can get energy. So now the question is there that why we need energy now. So see, why we need energy. Our body cells need energy for a vast variety of activities in them. So our body cells are performing a vast variety of, means a very heavy or huge range of activities our body cells are doing. First of all, they have given a synthesis of proteins from the amino acids. Second is production of enzymes. Okay, we have seen in our third important point that for each breakdown there is a particular enzyme, but the main thing is that for the production of enzymes, for producing the enzyme, we need energy. So for the production of enzymes we need the energy. Third one is contraction of muscles for movement. See, I give you a task of picking something, okay, then you must use your hand for that. Okay, and for the movement of picking you need to move or contract your muscles. So this is the work we are, in our daily life we are doing many works, and that includes contraction of muscles for the movement. So for that also we need energy. Fourth is conduction of electrical impulse in a nerve cell. So what they mean over here is that see, for instance, that we are having 5 senses. Okay, we can take our touch. Okay, I am touching something. Okay, if I am active, if I am having energy, then this feeling of touching will instantly come to my brain through the nerve cell. But if I'm not having any energy, then this will go slowly. You can observe this also. When you are very much active, then whatever you are doing, hearing and all, that things directly and fastly go to your mind. But when you are lazy or not having any energy level, then the things that are surrounding you go to your brain very slowly. Okay, so this is a very simple example. And fifth one is very important. We all know that for the production of the new cells by cell division. Okay, that we are child at some time. Okay, we are some inches long, some foot long, but now we are 4 to 5 foot long. Why we are? because our cells are producing, okay, more and more by the method of cell division. And for the production of cell, okay, so for production of new cells also we need the energy. Now sixth is that I have earlier told you that we are warm blooded animals, and sometimes they ask in the exams that give examples of warm blooded animals, and you can write birds and mammals. So we are warm blooded animals, so that we need the heat energy, means energy for keeping the body warm. Now question is there that can be asked in a question, that animals need more energy. Animals need more energy. Why is it so? So the need for production of energy is greater in animals than in plants. So we are comparing the production of energy levels in animals and plants. So it is more in animals than in plants. Why is it so? So we can see that we animals, okay, human beings, we are moving, we are doing movement, we are doing many types of movements in our daily life, okay, we are moving from one place to another. But plants are still, that's why they need, they are not doing such much physical work, that's why they need less amount of energy as compared to the animals. So that animals have to move about for obtaining food and to run away or to escape enemies, okay, so they have to chew their food, okay, and they have to look after their eggs or young ones, okay, and so on. Many works are there. But birds and animals need still more energy. Why is it so? So the birds and mammals, including ourselves, mean human beings, have to produce a lot of heat for keeping the body warm, because the reason is that we are warm blooded animals, okay. Now this heat comes through respiration in the cells. So the amount of heat required to keep the body warm is quite large in amount. So you can think about the cold winter days when the outside temperature is far below our body temperature, and at that time we are constantly losing heat to the outside air, okay. So for making up that loss we need more energy, means continuously we have to produce more and more energy. So they can ask you that what is the main source of producing energy in our, or we can say heat energy in our body. Then they are the liver cells. They are the liver cells. And the second is somewhat muscle cells, okay. So you can see muscle cells when you are exercising in the winter days, you didn't feel that much cold. You can experience it, okay, when there is very much cold outside, you start you start exercising, then your muscle cells will move, they'll cause movement, and after that you must feel warm in your body. Okay, that's why you must have heard that the person who are not doing any work, they are feeling more cold, okay, but the person who are doing work, like your moms are doing work, they they are saying that no, there is no cold, why are you sitting, okay, why are you saying so? So this is the case because when our muscle cells, we are doing any work, then we don't we feel warmth from inside, that's why we say so. Shivering and clattering of teeth, okay. So shivering and clattering of teeth, when one feels too cold, we shiver, ठीक है, हम कांपते हैं, हमारे जो दांत है वो अपने आप ही हिलने लग जाता है, क्लैटरिंग ऑफ टीथ, ठीक है। तो ये एक इमरजेंसी एक्टिविटी होती है। तो हम देख सकते हैं कि शिवरिंग जब हम करते हैं, क्लैटरिंग ऑफ टीथ होती है, भी तो हमारी मसल्स ही करती है। तो ये मसल्स क्यों करती है? ताकि क्योंकि हम तो खुद तो कर नहीं रहे होते अपनी मसल से, तो जो शिवरिंग और क्लैटरिंग ऑफ टीथ है, हमारी बॉडी सेल्स अपने आप क्या करने, मसल सेल्स को मूव करने लग जाते हैं उन ताकि क्या हो, एक्स्ट्रा हीट प्रोड्यूस हो सके जो कि हमारे बॉडी को वार्म कर सके। इज इट क्लियर टू यू? And we all know that for producing energy we use glucose, or we need glucose, okay. That is a very simple carbohydrate, okay. So glucose has no alternative for respiration, but it it is true that without glucose there should not be any respiration. So if the simple carbohydrate glucose is not available directly, you can see that some people are fasting, then they are not eating carbohydrate or glucose, they are not taking directly, then what the cells of our body are doing, they may break down the protein or fats. You know that, let me explain you. Fats when go into the fats produce amino acid. Okay, when they're we have done this in our digestive system also, if you remember. So when fats are becoming amino acids, they go to the liver cells. In the liver cells, they contain two parts. First part is glucose. So in the amino acid, in protein, glucose is also present. So first part is glucose and second part is nitrogenous part. Okay, so this glucose is then used for respiration, and this nitrogenous part is excreted out of the body in the form of urea. Okay, now, so think for a while about the wild animals, which are totally flesh eaters. So the main constant of the diet is protein with very little carbohydrates. So the body, means the excess of amino acids are absorbed through protein digestion, are broken down in the liver to produce glucose, and the nitrogenous part is converted into urea, which gets excreted out. Okay, now the glucose thus produced may be, we can say, thus the glucose thus produced may be used immediately or may get stored in the liver cells as the form of glycogen. So the stored form of glucose, they may ask in the exam that what is the stored form of glucose, and that is glycogen, and it is stored in the liver cells. So a similar process takes place in humans also, okay, if they are taking excessively protein rich food. Now this is the progress check, let's do. So respiration is the process of releasing energy by breaking down glucose for carrying out life processes. Now what is the chemical equation? You can write that C6H12O6 plus 6O2 give rise to 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus energy. Now in what form is the energy liberated in respiration? Heat energy and chemical energy in the form of ATP. Give two example of life activities which need energy. So you can write anything which we have done, that for the production of new cells and whatever we have read. Now I think that you are familiar with this two kinds of respiration, aerobic and anaerobic. I think you are, we have done this earlier in respiration in plants, but we are going to do it again. So in animals or in our body, there is normally aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration is in the while using oxygen or in the presence of oxygen, there is aerobic. But anaerobic respiration is in the absence of oxygen, when oxygen we can say lackage is there. So is only exceptional in some cases, as in the tapeworms living inside the human intestine. So let's see somewhat about anaerobic respiration first of all. So this may occur in our own body when we are doing fast working skeleton muscles. We are doing very much fast things. Okay, and this is a very temporary process. Okay, why is it so? Let's see. During continuous physical exercise, such as we are running fast, walking over long distances, and we are swimming, wrestling, weightlifting, etc., then our muscles work too fast, but they do not get enough oxygen for that, okay, for oxidizing that. So in this situation, the muscles are working in the absence of oxygen. In this situation, the muscles are working in the absence of oxygen. That's why there is anaerobic respiration at that time, because at that time oxygen is not utilized. Okay, so to provide extra energy, so what happen is, when there is anaerobic respiration, then the end product is lactic acid, and you know that lactic acid is very much toxic for our cells. That's why it gives feeling of fatigue, okay, tiredness. So this is a condition which may be known as oxygen debt. Okay, you must learn this keyword. So when you rest after, when you are exercising very much and you rest after exercise, then you must feel that your legs or your hands, they are paining. Okay, you are fatigued for that, you are tired from that. So that's known as the oxygen debt, and the debt is cleared by producing CO2 in the process. But afterwards you have done your exercise and you are resting, then when you are resting, then this depth, oxygen depth is cleared, and after that CO2 is. Let's start chemical steps in respiration. So first of all, aerobic respiration we will see in animals. So you can see simply C6H12O6 plus 6O2 gives to 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O and plus 686 kilocalories per mole energy. Okay, you must have to learn this now. So we can see this, that C6H12O6 plus 6O2 give way to this. So up to here it's clear to you, but the problem is over here. Okay, so हमें पता होना चाहिए that one mole of glucose contain 38 ATP. 1 mole contain 38 ATP. Okay, and 420 kilocalories of heat energy. And we can say that 1 mole of ATP contains 7 kilocalories. So 38, we will multiply 38 by 7. Our answer is 266. And we know that our, total is 600. Our total is 686. And when we will minus 266 kilocalories, that is of chemical energy in the form of ATP, we will get 420, that is in the heat form. Now anaerobic respiration in animals. So in animal cells, particularly in the skeletal muscles, we have seen that C6H12O6, there is no oxygen present because it is in the absence. Then enzymes are acting, it forms lactic acid, only 2 ATP because there is incomplete oxidation of glucose, that's why, plus heat energy is produced. Now the points that we must keep in our mind is that it is a very slow process because it is without oxygen. Second, that the lactic acid is produced which has a toxic effect on cells and it may cause muscle fatigue in acts. Now no CO2 is produced because if there is no oxygen used, then no CO2 is produced. So total energy produced per mole of glucose is less compared to aerobic respiration because there is incomplete oxidation of glucose. So now, what is the difference in anaerobic respiration in plants and animals? So in plants, in place of lactic acid, ethanol and CO2 is there. Ethanol means ethyl alcohol, but here lactic acid is there. In animals, here heat energy is more, but here heat energy is less. Now let's see last part of today's lecture, that is what are the parts of respiration. So first of all, breathing is there. In breathing we are inhaling air and then we are exhaling it. Is it clear to you? And this process is done by our organ, that is our lungs. Now gaseous transport is there. Okay, so let's see it through a diagram. So see, here is our nose. Okay, from nose we have trachea, nose, larynx, pharynx, etc. And here is our lungs. And from lungs, what is happening? Oxygen is there. Oxygen is coming to the blood in the lungs, and from there it is going to the cell. Okay, and there is glycolysis and Krebs cycle occurring here, and it produces CO2. And then CO2, see, when this oxygen is comes in contact with the blood, it comes into the blood. Then in blood we know hemoglobin is then it combines with hemoglobin and it forms oxyhemoglobin. Okay, and then it comes to in the cell. After that CO2 is given out. So CO2 forms bicarbonate in this plasma. Okay, and somewhat it forms carbamino hemoglobin, and then it moves to the lungs, and lungs from nose it comes out. Okay, so this is basically gaseous transport. First of all, oxygen absorbed by the blood in the lungs is carried by the RBCs as oxyhemoglobin throughout the body by means of arteries. Okay, so oxygen is carried by arteries, and that this carbon dioxide is carried by veins. You must learn this. Okay, and this carbon dioxide is transported to the lungs by the blood by means of two ways: bicarbonate dissolved in plasma and partly in the combination with the hemoglobin as carbaminohemoglobin. Now these are two simple terms. Tissue respiration is the respiration occurring in the tissues, and cellular respiration is the respiration occurring in the cells. So now we can see that a common misconception is there that many people wrongly say that we inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide, but this is a very we can say wrong theory, because that we inhale air and also exhale air, but while inhaling the air, oxygen amount is high and CO2 amount is low, but while exhaling means exhaling, the oxygen amount is less and carbon dioxide level is more. So instead we should say we inhale air containing much oxygen and very little carbon dioxide, and exhale air containing less oxygen and more carbon dioxide. Let's do this progress check. True and false. Strenuous physical exercise may cause fatigue due to accumulation of CO2. No. False. Due to accumulation means storage of lactic acid in our muscles. No CO2 is produced in aerobic. It's true. Breathing and gases transport are one and the same thing. It's false. Okay. CO2 is transported to the lungs by two forms, bicarbonates and carbaminohemoglobin. It's true. And tissue respiration means chemical changes occurring inside the cell. No, if they are in the cell, then it's known as cellular respiration. So false. Now a very small note, or we can say small reminding page is given, which we have done earlier, but let's recall all that. So where does respiration occur in a cell? At cell level, where does it occur? So it is at two different places. First of all, it's glycolysis. So it is a breakdown of glucose. It occurs in the cytoplasm, that is outside the mitochondria. See, if it is a cell, it's a mitochondria, and after mitochondria, all is this is cytoplasm. We have done this in the cell chapter. That's the watery part, transparent part. Now glucose break down into pyruvic acid, which further break down into ethanol in plants and lactic acid in animals, and it is an anaerobic respiration, meaning it doesn't require oxygen and very little energy is released. Now second is our Krebs cycle, that is inside mitochondria. So it is step by step breakdown of pyruvic acid, or we can say lactic acid, to produce ATP and CO2. It's aerobic and much energy is also produced. So why we doesn't write here H2O? Because H2 is over here. Now H positive ions are also there in the cycle, but there is no way of removing them earlier. But you know that why we are taking oxygen. When we are taking oxygen, this H will combine with the oxygen and it form water, and with that mean it can remove from our body. So this is all for today, and I think it's a very good session. I hope you understood all the points and all the concepts which I taught you in this video, and in the next video we are probably starting a 14.6, that is the respiratory organs. We are concerning here about the breathing and all the organs that contribute for the respiration. So subscribe to our channel ICSE Easy Learn, like this video, share it with all your friends, and leave a comment downside if it is helpful for you or not. So bye bye, meet you in the next video.